Jaya Punya Bihar Punya Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Givaradari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Givaradari Yasodanandana Bhajadana Yasodanandana Bhajadana Yamuna Tira Yamuna Tira Jaya Radha Dunya Jaya Radha Dunya Bihar Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Cheva Narottanam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jamudirayat Nastabesya Bhatresu Nityam Bharta Sevyam Bhagavati Uttama Sloke Bhakti Bhakti Naistike. This morning we were reading from the 10th canto, chapter 8, Akrura's arrival in Vrindavan, text 19 till 22. 22 is on the board, so I will first read the first verses. There are extensive commentaries on these verses by Srila Vishwanath Chakrabarti Thakur and by Sanatana Goswami, but we will go over them later. First we'll read the verses. Text 19. Apiyangri mule vaitam kitanjalim Mamekshita smitam arthaya trisa Sapati apadvasta samasta kilbiso udam vitafishanka uchitam. Thus he will cast his smiling affectionate glance upon me as I remain fixed with joint palms, falling into in obeisances at his feet. Then all my contamination will at once be dispelled, and I will give up all doubts and feel the most intense bliss. Text 20. Doritanam yatim ananya devatam dobhyam viratyam paripasyate tamam atmai tirti kriyate tadeva me bandhasa karmatmaka usprasityata. Recognizing me as an intimate friend and relative, Krishna will embrace me with his mighty arms, instantly sanctifying my body and diminishing to nil all my material bondage, which is due to fruitive activities. 21. Lapvan kasangram pranatam kitam chalim mam vakshyate kuratate tyurushavam tatavayam chanavito mayasam naivadito yodrishanus yadyanmatat. Translation. Having been embraced by the all-famous Lord Krishna, I will humbly stand before him with bowed head and joined palms, and he will address me, that my dear Akrura, at that very moment my life's purpose will be fulfilled. Indeed, the life of anyone whom the Supreme Personality fails to recognize is simply pitiable. Text 22. Yeah, we can repeat together. Natasya kachit dayita suritamo nasa priyot visarpakshay bhavan tatapi bhaktam bhajate yatha tatha Suadhimo yatvadupassitam vitam Natasya kashitaita suitam Nasa priyot visarpakshay bhavan Tatapi bhaktam bhajate yatha tatha Suradhimo yatvadupassitam vitam Natasya kashitaita suitamo Nasa priyodvesha pakshay bhavan Tatapi bhaktam bhajate yatha tatha Suradhimo yatvadupassitam dhammam. Natasya kashitaita suitamo Nasa priyodvesha pakshay Tatapi bhaktam bhajate yatha tatha Suradhimo yatvadupassito itadha Natasya kashitaita suitamo Nasa priyodvesha pakshay bhavan Tatapi bhaktam bhajate yatha tatha Suradhimo yatvadupassito Natasaka Sitayita Savitamo Nasayo Visha Vishtaye Nasayo Bhaktam Vachate Yatatatam Sugada Mayatata Pasito Ladies. Natasaka Sitayita Savitamo Nasayo Visha Vishtaye Tatapi Bhaktam Vachate Yatatatam Sugada Mayatata Pasito Vitada Natasha Kasida Suvitamo Nasapi Vesha Natami Bhaktam Vachide Tatan So Vatu Pasitu
Natasha Pasidia Tamaswatamo
Natasha Kasida Suvitamo
Yudhisha Vikshadeva
Nasapi Vesha Tatapi Bhaktam Vachate Yatatatam Suradu Mayatata Pasita Vitadam. What translation? Natasya, he does not have Kachit, any Daitaha, favorite, Suritama, best friend, Nacha, no, Apriyaha, unfavored, Veshaha, hated, Upeksha, neglected, Eva, indeed, Va, or Tata Api, still, Bhaktan, with his devotees, Bhajate, he reciprocates, Jata, as they are, Tata, accordingly, Suradruma, a heavenly desire tree, Yatvat, just as Apisrataha, taking shelter of after desired benefits, Daha, giving. Translation and quote by the disciple of A.C. Bhaktivinoda Swami Srila Prabhupada. The Supreme Lord has no favorite and no dearest friend, nor does he consider anyone undesirable, despicable, or fit to be neglected. All the same, he lovingly reciprocates with his devotees in whatever manner they worship him, just as the trees of heaven fulfill the desires of whoever approaches them. Purport. The Lord says something similar in Bhagavad Gita 9:29. Samam sarvabhuteshu namitveṣtina prayaye bhajanti tamam bhaktya maitateshu sapyam. I envy no one, nor am I partial to anyone. I am equal to all, but whoever renders service unto me in devotion is a friend and is in me, and also I am a friend in him. Similarly, Lord Chaitanya was as hard as a thunderbolt for those who envied him, and as soft as a rose for those who understood his divine mission. Om Jnana-timandasya Sanam-samasanatam Sakshu-nritanyena Tasmai Shri-gurave Namah Chichaitanya-manovistam Stapatam Yena Bhutam Tamrapradamyam Dadati Stapatam Vandeham Shiro Shri-yudam Padakam Shri-gum Vaishnavam Shri-rupam Jagajatam Sakala-ragnatam Tam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savdutam Paritam Saitam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sagalita Shakam Pitam He Krishna Karuna Sinu Dinabhanati Atpate Kaupesha Kaukakanta Radha Kanta Tapta Kansana Gauranti Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishyavananitya Devi Anamama Devi Ankar Kalta Vishama Vipas Navesha Patanam Pavanabhyo Vaishnavyo Namam Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Dada Shivasana Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Vistaya Namani Namaste Saraswata Devi Gauravani Pachani Nirvishesha Singhavati Pachani Desatani So the title of this chapter is Akrura's Arrival in Vrindavan. Akrura has been sent to Vrindavan by Kamsa. Kamsa had sent before many demons. Many demons he had sent to the land of Vrindavan with the intention to kill Krishna. But so far he has been defeated in his purpose, and he thought of another plan. Let me bring Krishna to Mathura. When he comes to Mathura, then we kill him. So Kamsa devised this plan, and he devised a plan to send Akrura to the land of Vrindavan to bring Krishna to Mathura. So Kamsa was externally very friendly to Akrura, externally, but he had his purpose. He told Akrura, actually you are my very good friend. And he explained his plan to him and asked him to bring Krishna and Balaram to Mathura. So Akrura, who was a staunch devotee of Lord Krishna, to go on such a mission was more or less a drama. But because he's going on as a representative of a demon, but the purpose of Kamsa was to kill the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So many times we see that the devotees are put in such complexities, difficult situations. So accurate faith that Krishna will not misunderstand me. He will understand. So we had also Bhishmadev. Bhishmadev was fighting at the other side, at the wrong side. So he was fighting against the Pandavas, but the purpose of Krishna was not, of Bhishmadev, was not to kill Krishna. No, he wanted to give him a good fight in the service. That's another situation. Because we see also in the Ramayana, Vibhishan was the pious brother of Ravan. And he went to Lord Ram thinking, yeah, the Lord will understand me because the Lord is the Paramatma in my heart. The Akrura, the devotee in you, Krishna, is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. You cannot destroy the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Nobody can kill him. So Akrura agreed to the mission to bring Krishna to the city of Mathura. It is many times, Prabhupada mentioned it many times, we should enter Vrindavan as Akrura entered Vrindavan. We cannot go to Vrindavan by getting a plane ticket and travel to Vrindavan. You may not see Vrindavan there, maybe Loibhuta and so on. Well, but not Vrindavan. Vrindavan is only seen when we see it with devotion, with humility, as exemplified in the prayers of Akrura. These prayers show the mood how to enter Vrindavan. The devotee never thinks himself worthy to enter Vrindavan. So Akrura was thinking, how Krishna will receive me. So in the heart of a pure devotee is not the least doubt. And therefore, he has this strong and unparalleled determination that so while we go on the path of devotional service, we should be convinced all our doubts will be removed. That first, Akrura was thinking Krishna will touch me, but there is no difference between Krishna's touch and his holy name. It's the same, or thinking of Krishna. And so Akrura knew that Krishna is the Paramatma in his heart. So Akrura was thinking Krishna will touch me. And Akrura will address me as an uncle. So Krishna is nothing down our service, and he's reciprocating with our service. That's the purpose of Seva, is to please Krishna. But now we have these commentaries of our Acharya first, and they see these verses with spiritual vision to their realization, and they see more, but by their commentaries we can understand them more deeply. So I will go over the verses again, read their commentaries, and discuss text 19. Thus he will cast a smiling, affectionate glance upon me, as I remain fixed with joined palms, falling in obeisance of his feet. Then all my doubts, contamination will at once be dispelled, and I will give up all doubts and feel the most intense bliss. This first Shiva Vishwanand Bhakti Bhakti, Shiva Vishwanand Vishwanand. Will he not look at me, offering respect at his lotus feet with merciful glance? Immediately, I will achieve increased bliss, and all fear will be gone, for the Lord certainly knows my heart. So the Lord knows my heart, he says. Krishna knows our heart. We cannot hide anything for Krishna. He knows our heart, and he reciprocates with that. We'll hear later. He's equal to everyone, but he reciprocates with the love of his devotee, that according to the intensity of their love. And we see here that Akrura has expectations. We have many times also many expectations in our lives. I'm going to marry. It will be very nice marriage. Everything will be nice. And we imagine these things. But the reality, the statistics say 80% is divorcing. So most probably you will divorce. But we don't think in that terms. We think so-called positive. That no, it will not happen to me. It will all be good. And we have expectations, but these expectations are unrealistic. But here we have Akrura, he has spiritual expectations. And these expectations are real, realistic, because Krishna reciprocates with our devotion. And he had deep devotion for Krishna. And was sure Krishna is going to reciprocate. And we will see all his expectations when he arrives and meets Krishna and Balaram, they will be fulfilled as he was expecting. And that's interesting, that spiritual desires will not look at me, offering respect at his lotus feet with merciful glance. I will achieve increased bliss, and all fear are gone. His expectations, Jiva Goswami. There's all my sins from serving Kamsa. He thinks, yeah, I'm sinful because I'm associating with Kamsa. So all these sins will be destroyed. All my fears will be removed. In his commentary, Srila Swami uses the word yadi to mean certainly. So, and Srila Swami writes, but because you are the protector of your devotee, is able to step over the head of whatever obstacles the devatas place before him. That's interesting. That's a deep comment. That in our devotional service, sometimes in our preaching, we have obstacles. The devatas, the demigods, testing us. But Srila Swami says, Krishna is the protector of the devotees, and my devotees will overcome them. Thirdly, he will see me with his merciful glance. O Akrura. Or Akrura develops another desire, being definitely dissatisfied by his nature as a devotee. Interesting. He doesn't think himself a devotee. But these are all an expression of Akrura's desires. These are spiritual desires. Spiritual desires activate the spiritual body of the real self, the soul, makes us act as spiritual. Material desires make us act as the body. And by material desires, we take one body after another. So Krishna consciousness means I'm going to change my desires. That's the point. That's the change of heart. Changing desire. Spiritual desires means we are contacting the spiritual energy. Mahatmas, the Mahaprastha, Devi, Prakriti, Ashta. That's spiritual. So the Mahatmas, they take shelter of the divine energy. How do they do that? Satatam Kirtayantam. always chanting the Lord's glories. And here we see developing spiritual desires. Spiritual desire, what's a pure spiritual desire? Anya Bilasa Shivnam, Kanika Maranavatam, Anakugena, Krishna, Shivnam, Bhakti. Your devotional service is to please Krishna always favorably. Sanatana Goswami says, all my sins of serving, kamsa, or desires for liberation will be destroyed. So, desire for liberation is a material desire, wanting to get rid of suffering. That interesting. That of course, in the beginning of the devotional service, without Janman, Yajna, Secretary, Actor, Shikna, Sakti, Janastam, Dakshava. There are four kinds of pious people who come to Krishna. They don't, those who want to be free from distress, those who are curious, those who want wealth, and those who want to know the absolute truth. But those who are found to free from distress, wanting liberation, material desire. But it doesn't matter whether we have material desires. But you are full of material desires, you have no material desires, so you desire liberation. With great force, you should perform this bhakti yoga, this intense devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And then you will become purified, these desires will go. We have seen that with Maharaj and so on. The desires will go. So eating souls like Urias, this desire for liberation, it will be destroyed. I will give it up. That just by thinking of Krishna, by seeing Krishna, that and all my fears will remove. Fear comes from identifying with the body, which we are not. That we have to lose the body anyway, but we don't need the gross body and the subtle body if our spiritual body is reactivated by the emotional service. So he's thinking of receiving mercy. The Lord will not only place his hand on my head, but he will cast his smiling glance. So that is Krishna. Krishna is always enjoying. When I was in Montreal, I gave a 7-part seminar of the Kaldiya pastime. And the Nagapatnis says that the Nagapatnis say to Krishna, these are the wives of Kaldiya, what by his deeds has this serpent done, that you are dancing with great joy on his hoods, on the hoods of all his heads, with great joy. Krishna was enjoying. Krishna is always enjoying. You never see Krishna lamenting, always enjoying. So he's thinking all my fears will be removed. I will receiving mercy. He will cast his smiling glance. That being attentive with folded hands at his feet, perhaps he will command. These are his expectations. Text 20. Into translation again. Recognizing me as an intimate friend and relative, Krishna will embrace me with his mighty arms, instantly sanctifying my body and diminishing to nil all my material damage, which is due to votive activity. So he's thinking Krishna will eradicate all my sins and I will give up all these material desires and be free from material bondage. That's Vishwanath. He will embrace me because we are the best of friends and because we are relatives. And among relatives, I have exclusive dasya bhav. Akrura was an uncle of Krishna. So he was thinking, because I'm his family and I'm his friend, I'm his devotee, he will embrace me. And he knows I have this dasya bhav. I want only to serve him. I'm not coming really as a representative of Kamsa, but he was thinking, if I do the mission, I will see Krishna. And he had so many desires, spiritual desires, to be fulfilled. By the embrace, my body will become a tirtha. And when those bodies purified, so will the bodies of others. So he's saying, if I see Krishna, just see Krishna, I will become purified when he touched me. And then I will become pure. And everyone who sees me will also become pure. So that's the Guru Parampara. That this my bondage will be extinguished. Now, Jiva Goswami, again dissatisfied, Akrura develops another desire. He will embrace me as the greatest of friends, since I've helped Vasudeva using his arms, huge because of the deep embrace that he helped Vasudeva. Vasudeva is the father of Krishna, and Akrura has helped him. He said here. And therefore he will embrace me. My body, my Atma, will be made into a holy tirtha by his embrace. Thou now I'm impure. So that's his spiritual desire. If we chant the holy names, we are in touch with Krishna. We will become purified. We must have full faith in it. We must want to become purified. Thank Krishna, rest in peace. And it says, the bondage of my prarabdha karma will be destroyed. Of course, my body will be capable of purifying others by its touch. My body will become a tirtha. The Dutch devotee does not think only about his purification, but purification of all the others also. Not only that, but if others see my body, their karmas will be destroyed. That's Shiva Goswami, text 21. Having been embraced by the all-famous Lord Krishna, I will humbly stand before him with bowed head and joined palms, and he will address me, my dear Akrura. At that very moment, my life's purpose will be fulfilled. Indeed, the life of anyone whom the Supreme Personality of Godhead fails to recognize is simply pitiable. That's an important lesson. Saraswati Maharaj said, you want to see Krishna, the deity, but what are your qualifications to see Krishna? You must have devotion to see Krishna. But rather than trying to see Krishna, he said, you should act in such a way that Krishna sees you. So that's what Akrura is saying here. That he is expecting this reciprocation of Krishna. Vishwanath says, when he calls out to me, oh uncle, my life will become successful. Otherwise, my life is useless. One is unfortunate if one does not get respected by a great person. So that's the devotee's expectation. Krishna will reciprocate with him. That Shiva Goswami said, not satisfied, he develops another desire. By getting contact with Krishna's body, Akrura in joy offers respect again. With my hands folded, he will say to me, my dear Akrura, Tata is used instead of Tata, because Krishna will speak with agitation of prema, of love. He indicates the Lord's great mercy. The Lord has immense fame because of qualities like his unconditional mercy. My birth will be successful. This indicates that this last desire is the greatest among all of them, since by loving words of the Lord, one can attain the highest bliss. The desires stated are increasingly greater in succession. He who is not addressed by the Lord has a useless birth. So that's what Akrura thinks. If I don't get a lot in reciprocation in this life, what's the use of this body? Why am I here? The word Eva indicates that if the Lord at some time speaks to him, then his birth will become successful. The word Amunsya indicates that an unseen person situated far from the Lord. It also shows he's greatly disrespected by the Lord. Not being spoken by the Lord, his birth is useless. Or because he's so low and fallen, he cannot be mentioned. He may be elevated by birth, but is still useless. Sridhar Swami calls such a person a creature. Being disrespected by the great Lord, he lacks all good qualities. Or is not respected by a great servant of the Lord, full of qualities like mercy, his birth is useless. What to speak of his uselessness if he were disrespected by the Lord, full of sweet qualities like mercy. So he's expecting Krishna's reciprocation. Or he goes from it, this is as good as getting the reciprocation of the representative of the Lord, the servant of the Lord, the spiritual master. Yes. Now the verse which is on the board here. Again, the Supreme Lord has no favorite. And no dearest friend, nor does he consider anyone undesirable, despicable, or fit to be neglected. All the same, he lovingly reciprocates with his devotees in whatever manner they worship him, just as trees of heaven fulfill the desires of whoever approaches them. So Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur starts with putting forward a question. But the Supreme Lord should be equal to all at all times. How is it possible that he should show special friendship to some? That the Samam Sarvabhuti issue. Krishna is equal to all living entities. But according to the type of worship, Krishna responds accordingly. Just according to the amount of surrender to the kalpa-vriksha, one gets a corresponding bestowal of results. So Krishna is compared here with the kalpa-vriksha, a wish fulfilling tree. So according to our intensity of love, Krishna will reciprocate that. And we know the gopis they have Mahabharata, and they are able to control Krishna. That they are able to control Krishna. That during the Rasa dance, we have seen that Krishna was forced to come back to the Rasa dance by their devotion. That they have conquered the unconquerable. That so it is just as according to the amount of surrender to the Kalpavriksha, one gets a corresponding bestowal of results. The Krishna reciprocates according to our surrender. That as there is no discrepancy, if the Kalpavriksha does not give fruits to a person who does not take shelter of it, then there is no discrepancy if the Lord does not give friendship to those who do not take shelter of him. He loves everyone, but he shows his love to his devotees who try to serve him with love. That's the point. However, whereas the Lord is dependent upon his devotees, the Kalpavriksha is not dependent on those taking shelter of it. That, therefore, according to the devotion, the Lord shows either friendship, enmity, or neutrality. Three possibilities: friendship, enmity, or neutrality. The Lord showed friendship to Ambarish, and to the envious Durvas he showed hatred and indifference. That's the example which is explained. That Jiva Goswami explains, embracing and speaking together as friends are human actions. How it is proper for the Lord to do this, since the Lord's desires are already fulfilled and is neutral to all living beings. A person becomes the object of affection because of his good qualities, and becomes the object of dislike because of his faults. That's so in the material world. Another person can be classed as either, since he is not attracted to seeing good qualities or faults in others. He does good acts for us. He becomes an object of gratitude. Opposite is a person who tries to harm you. He becomes an object of hatred. Another person neither benefits nor causes harm. Since everything as one is the object of indifference, that is true. The Lord does see people in terms of good qualities, bad qualities, good acts or bad acts, or indifference. I will repeat it. The Lord sees people in terms of good qualities, bad qualities, good acts or bad acts, or indifference. The negative na should be understood for all 5 items. The word sha should be connected to suritama, apriya, and dvesha. This is a whole analysis makes. And then, thus the Lord does not treat anyone as favored or the best friend of everyone. Nor does he treat them as enemy. Nor does he treat them as indifference. So the Lord does not do that. We are doing that in the Lord. Though he does not treat anyone in these ways, he responds to his devotees. So it's not like us. And Shiva Goswami said, we will treat someone nicely as a friend or as an enemy or indifferent to people according to their qualities. But the Lord does not do that. He remains equal to everyone, but he responds to his devotees. Although he does not treat people as friend, enemy, or neutral, he does not respond to the non-devotee. Those who are not devotees, he doesn't respond. He makes his appearance according to the mood in which they worship that soul. Yeah. For devotees, he comes, yeah, he makes his appearance according to the mood in which they worship. He comes under their control. That, so Krishna will appear to his devotees in the form they worship him. That's also explained in the Bhagavatam, 3rd canto, 3.9, and Tvam Bhakti Vaivavita Saroya Sis, Daksila Padona, Dunata Ponsam, Yatirata Urvaya, Vayamsi, yeah, the Lord, this verse says that the Lord is in the heart of everyone. But to the devotee who becomes attached to hearing about Krishna, then his heart becomes purified. And Krishna takes seat in his heart, in the form in which the devotee feels attracted to, is Ishtadeva. Attached to Radha Gopinath, and he appears as Gopinath in the heart. That's Krishna's reciprocation. That, So the Lord does not consider anyone an enemy, but he becomes inimical. The Lord becomes inimical to those who hate his devotees. That's also reciprocation. Shiva Goswami. The pure devotee is my very heart. What pains him pains me. What the pure devotee pains Krishna. I'm the heart of the pure devotee. What pleases him pleases me. My devotees do not know anything but me, and I do not know more than they do. So that was a verse spoken by Lord Narayan to the Vipasa Muni, who was followed by the chakra, because all of the universe he was trying to avoid the Krishna's chakra, because he had abundant admiration. And then he speaks this verse. So it has previously been shown that for the Lord not to show mercy to his devotees would be a fault. Thus unkindness and cruelty are rejected in the Lord, since his heart is untouched by material faults or faults, but it is touched by bhakti. So there are still extensive commentaries like okay. Time is over. Any question? Questions? Yes, please.
You mentioned that at the beginning, you mentioned that the Dura had spiritual expectations. Sorry.
Yes.
Yet there is a first time where Prabhupada said that the devotee doesn't have any ambition, neither material nor spiritual. So in the end, is it okay to have spiritual expectations or ambitions or not?
Srila Prabhupada explains surely that we should give up our material desires. We should turn them into spiritual desires by dovetailing them in Krishna's service. Srila Prabhupada explains also that in the 3rd chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, the soul means desire. The soul must be attached, must have desire. Otherwise, you are a dull stone. But we can be attached to this world, or we can be attached to Krishna. And that is our choice. And becoming attached to Krishna means spiritual desires. The spiritual desires are um, are required to make spiritual advance. It's a requirement that the desire to please Krishna favorably. But unfortunately, many times it is mixed. And, I don't say, Srila Prabhupada never says that we have to become desireless. That's not in his books. And it's a mistake, I think. That, but we must become free from these material desires, but by using them in Krishna's service. That, and develop this desire, the desire to serve the devotees, this desire to serve Krishna. And that should dominate our lives, that we only desire that. Yeah. Lord Chaitanya said, "Na dhanam, na chanam, na sundaram, kavadam, vanshiri, sikamaya." I then do not desire any wealth, any women, any followers. I give up all these material desires. But then he says, I desire to become an atom at the lotus feet of Krishna. That the desire to serve Krishna. That is important. Spiritual life means developing spiritual desires and become so absorbed in trying to fulfill these material desires that one forgets about everything else. That's the only way to control our mind. Because in Rupa Goswami says in Act of Devotion, to make spiritual advancement, you must be greedy to get Krishna. That's lolyam, that greediness, that desire will make you advance. It's important, and we can develop these desires by associating with pure devotees. So, Krishna consciousness is change of heart. Change of heart means change desire. Without desire, we activate either the material body or the spiritual body. We act the material body by acting out of I and mine. That I, mine, I want to enjoy. This should be mine for my enjoyment. Every action out of that creates future material bodies. But the desire just to please Krishna favorably in whatever way you desire, that connects you with the spiritual energy. And then when you are connected with the spiritual energy, the heart becomes purified. That is what Akrura says. I will become purified. He doesn't think himself a pure devotee. Just by seeing Krishna, I will become purified. By serving Krishna, I will become purified. And that's the inner mood of Akrura. And we need that inner mood to come to that point. Be convinced. I think of Krishna, I chant his holy name. Krishna will reciprocate. If we are not convinced, it's not going to happen. If we are not convinced that by chanting Hare Krishna, by performing devotional service, we go to the spiritual world, it will not happen. By Shishka Prabhu says that in a lecture, you should be convinced. If you are not convinced, make sure you do everything that you become convinced. That's what was Shishka Prabhu said. I like it very much. And, so that's the design. Does that help? Thank you. Please.
Related to this question, then, the next thing is that we would like to be recognized. And it should be, it says in the verse.
Yeah.
21. But to, and by engaging in service to continue, you will recognize.
Yeah,
It says if it fails to be recognized, I could
that is in relation to what Bhakti says about the marriage. You act in such a way that Krishna sees you. Not that you want to see Krishna and on your own power. If Krishna sees you, then he will reciprocate. And that's the whole point of discussed here. Krishna will reciprocate without desires. He will reciprocate. And therefore, it's so important to cultivate this desire, because I'm being convinced Krishna will reciprocate. How Krishna reciprocates, it's finally up to him. But the devotee knows this is the best thing I can do. That trying to please Krishna, and Krishna will reciprocate. And whatever he does with me, it's fine. The last verse of 6 Shastikam. Whatever he does, whether he embraces me or breaks my heart, Lord Chaitanya said, but of course that we can't imitate, that's Mahabharata. That's the idea. Be convinced Krishna will reciprocate. And we see in the Bhagavatam so many histories of devotees. And Krishna reciprocates with them. These are all reciprocations of Krishna. And he will not be differently reciprocate with us if we come to the same inner mood. And that's the point here. Akura is going to Vrindavan. And that mood is very important if we can develop that mood. Then we can enter into the spiritual realm of Vrindavan. Does that help? Yeah, good. Thank you very much. Chandra Srimad Bhagavatam ki